phone web.
Is it on?
Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry, we might have had some, okay, so we're back on. I apologize. I'm going to take a couple steps back now. Okay, so this is the Seesaw, and I guess introductions again. I am Ms. Shinsky at Herforth Elementary, and I teach second grade. I'm sorry, I apologize, audio was not working. And this is Luis.
Hello guys, sorry about that. We tried to work on it, so we finally got it fixed. But yes, I'm Luis Rasgado, and I'm at Southgate Elementary. I teach third grade, I teach math and science. So like I would say at the beginning, hope you guys really find this really been beneficial for you guys.
Sorry, first timers over here. Okay, so this is our Seesaw presentation, and I said before that the Seesaw presentation is not geared towards setting you up on Seesaw itself. If you had any questions on getting Seesaw set up, at the end of the presentation I will give you my email address and I can help you with that. I will say that going on, it's very easy to download the app. You'll go in the App Store on your iPad and you'll find Seesaw, S-E-E-S-A-W. It's really helpful also if you actually go to seesaw.com, and there are tutorials on how to actually download the app, excuse me, and how you will set up a class, add your students, and get the QR code for your parents to access their portfolio. Really what we're going to focus on is how this online student portfolio is used and how it's used effectively, and how students are explaining their thinking and making it more higher level, not just pictures and images that we're placing on a portfolio, really having students think about what they've done, explaining and digging deeper. So after you've downloaded the app itself and you've gone through that, I'm going to screen share with you and show you kind of my Seesaw. This is my teacher screen, my teacher hub that I will show you the Seesaw on. Oh my goodness me. Do you see the Seesaw?
Still live. Right. Okay, we're good.
Okay, so here's the Seesaw. You'll sign in here once you've already created your Seesaw, and it recognizes me, so it just logs in. On the left-hand side here, this is my class. On the left-hand side, you're going to see that this means that there are 5 notifications, 6 notifications now. And when I tap here, this is pretty much telling me that the student has tried to add something onto their portfolio and I have to accept it. That's the great thing about Seesaws. Once it's been added, you have to accept what they are adding to make sure that it's going in the right portfolio and things like that. Here you'll see that these students are trying to add something that went on in music. In the folder I have labeled and created, I'll show you in a little bit, shows this is music. So I can accept this. This is another one in art that the students are creating dolls and they're adding it here. So parents can kind of see what's going on, not just in our classroom, but around school, and you can approve those for them. Here, this is one of the parents responding to one of their things, very cute. Okay, so that's your notification. I'm going to go to my feed view to kind of just see exactly where we're going with Seesaw. Now, as I go through this feed, I'll choose a student, and these are first names only, and I changed them out for confidentiality. I had their last names in here, but presenting today, I took the last names out, and you can feel free to put first or last names in. So this is one of my students, and this is her actual Seesaw account here. This was a Mayflower challenge that they did today for a STEM activity, and these are different items and different pictures that were collected, and this is their actual Mayflower ship. And then here they added audio explaining what they were doing and what was their objective with this activity. A lot of people use the Seesaw just to add in their work, which is absolutely fine. But then having students go back and add, which I'll show in a moment, going back and adding voiceover so they can explain their thinking and explain why they wrote this persuasive letter about the turkey. These are some things that I add, and I click them to everyone. A lot of times parents say we don't know what's expected at school, or we don't know exactly how to help our children. And here, this is something I had tagged in here, some of our morning work. These are skills and review that have already been taught. Please check with your child make sure that they have it. And I explained in this voiceover what exactly we expect for them to do. So parents know it's coming home, they get a visual of it, and then they hear me explaining it. You can also use it kind of as like a remind, and you can put it in a folder titled Notes. And the great part here is it tells you who has seen all of it. So it tells you what parents have already logged on and they've looked and they've seen that you've sent that home. This is probably one of my favorite things that I've done with it this year. This is a lesson where I send home different math activities for them, and I've heard before from parents at conferences and things, and they say, I really just don't understand how you're teaching math. I really don't understand how I should help them at home. So I've gotten together with some students, and I've had them, this particular video, I did it, but I've had students explain and using the pen how we actually solve the math problems, and they're on a video for the parents to see.
This is an example of a word problem that we do in class. I'm going to kind of show one of the strategies and one of the ways we solve this problem. And 50 muffins. To find out how in the ones place, we have 0.
So I kind of go through and explain it, and I've gotten some really good feedback from parents saying this is really helpful for them. They take this actual question and they can watch it, and they feel a little bit more powerful to be able to help them and explain, because they know that's how it's being explained in class. Going down, I even use it going in the computer lab, and I'll go around and I'll talk and I'll take a video of what we're doing in class so that parents know that we're not only doing programs, but we're doing research in the computer lab. Some small group. And these are actually students, when they finish, and I wrote a comment on here for this particular child, part of their station work was to sort these patterns and then to go back and be able to read them aloud on Seesaw. And so once this child sorted them and went back and read them aloud, I was able to give my input on it and talk about and I was able to reflect and see what are some sounds we still need to practice on. So I know that you have 22 students and it's difficult to hear them all, they'll just turn it in. And to hear them with their patterns and how they're reading, it's easy to have them put it on Seesaw, and then you can view it later and you can respond. And it's a really good way to go back and see the areas to practice with students. And so here I had made a comment, and the children can comment back to you. This is another one that's labeled art. So this child was doing this activity in art. So with this activity, I'm going to skim through it because I don't want any names to be visible, first and last names. But another way that the Seesaw is very effective is I know that a lot of kids, we set goals. So we set goals in math, we set goals in iStation, and we want students to reach their goals. And we do it on paper a lot, but I found it was really helpful when students were setting their goals, and then if they met their goal, they were able to take a picture, a screenshot of it, and they were able to get on the microphone and say, you know, Mom, Dad, I met my goal. I'm so proud of myself, that type of thing. So that's also been really effective. Sorry, guys, I tried to make it bigger, and apparently that backfired.
Yeah, but you couldn't see it.
When I clicked that, it kind of...
There we go.
Okay. Another thing too, and this is just particular to our school, we've created and we've built a garden outside. So it's really great because we can do videos and parents can see what they're working on in the garden. Students can come up and they can record and talk about the growth of the different vegetables that are going on. You know, parents get really involved in it. This parent said, looking great. The video, they've kind of followed and documented with us the growth of our vegetables, and they get excited to see. Really making it important that when Seesaw, the images, and for me especially, I think that it's really important that when they put things on, I really encourage my students not to just put on pictures. And they do put on pictures, and that's absolutely fine, but I really encourage them to click on the microphone and really explain their learning, explain their thinking, and that really hits a higher level for them. Parents really love to hear their child not only just see what they're working on, but to explain, this is what I'm doing in class, this is why I'm doing it, making connections. And as a teacher, it's really cool to see that and being able to go back and reflect and say, in November, this child was able to tell me one or two things and reflect one or two things. Now we are in February, and they have a lot of confidence. Their knowledge is getting greater, so now they can really explain their thinking. And so see that progress over time is really, really cool. So I'm going to go and kind of scan through different things. This is really cool too for guided reading and things, having your student read to you, and really just having, a lot of people say, well, how do you have time to do that? 50% of it the students do, and about the other 50% I do. And so during small group, just like having your timer out, I just have the iPad out. And so when I ask them to read aloud, all I have to do is click and video. And then I listen as they're going. And then it's a really good piece to go back on and see also, have they progressed in their fluency? Have they progressed in their sounds and that type of thing? So it's really powerful for the parents to see what levels are they reading at school? How difficult is the reading? Sometimes parents will say, my child's reading at home, they're doing wonderful, but the child's reading a book that may be way below grade level. And so once they see this and they see that they're reading different types of texts in class, it's really helpful for them. This is more math and things, videos, and different activities. I'm going to go to the feed and find some others. So this is my view feed of just the whole entire class in general. I'm going to go down quite a bit because this will be everyone. Kind of give a couple more examples. So these are some examples too of things. In the very beginning, I kind of had to go back a little bit. I thought I had a rubric and I decided things have to be Seesaw ready for the students to put their things on Seesaw. And which I agree with that they need to be Seesaw ready, it needs to be their best. I also saw it as a tool to see a lot of growth and as a tool for the parents to see exactly what students are producing at school. I found that a lot of times when I sent things home, they were not getting home. And so parents were saying, well, I really am concerned that my child is struggling in school, but I'm really not seeing those types of things. And if I asked for things to be brought back, they weren't being brought back. So it's also a really good tool for you to kind of send a picture and just a comment as, please practice this at home, or your child is struggling on this skill. And it's a lot of positive, feedback back and forth. And the parents really get a good view of what they're creating and what they're doing in school. And it's really great too, because I always try to go back, and once the child recorrects and we reteach and they're able to do it with a lot more success, then you take that and you also upload it and you show their victory and their success. So both parties are happy and you can see that they've done a lot better on that activity. I really like how we have art on our campus. I really like how the teachers add things on here and parents. A lot of times with art, things are displayed in the cases or things are displayed around school and they're there for a while and the child will go home, Mom, I made this doll, and they don't get to bring it home and it takes a while to be able to bring it home. And so I'm really, really thankful that our art teachers and our music teachers and PE have really gotten on board, and parents can kind of see what they're doing, not just in my classroom. So a bunch of different students and their reading and the stories, and I send home a picture of the front of the story and said, for this group, this was the story they were reading tonight. So when I say, bring your reading book home, and the parents say, where's your reading book? And they say, well, I'm not quite sure. They have the power of knowing it's called Sounds All Around. You need to go find it. It's in your backpack, that type of thing. Does anyone have any questions or comments so far? So this one right here is to show kind of praise, and it's a great, makes me feel wonderful inside. So this particular student has a little bit of struggles, and we worked really, really hard to get these sentences, and this is one of those things that's really awesome for a parent to respond back. This child was able to finish this, and we talked about it. He put it on his Seesaw. He was so proud. I was proud. He recorded how great he felt that he was able to complete this work, which was something we'd been working on for quite a while. And once Mom got on, she wrote a comment about how it brought tears to his eyes. And I had told him that his mom was so proud of him, and it has made a huge difference. And a lot of times when Seesaw comes up, the kids will look at it and they can find their parents' comments right away. They see if their parents have liked it. And so it really encourages them to keep going. And it'll pop up on my computer and I'll say, Sammy or Rosie, your mom and dad said, awesome job, keep it up. And you see a direct smile and then busy, 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 back to work. And so they're self-monitoring themselves, and they really want everyone to be proud. And so this is one of those. And there are many stories of the kids putting things on and parents in the middle of their day being overwhelmed that their kids are really trying. Some of these are just, like I said, videos of the kids in the garden. I do want to add on here is there is a form, and you want to make sure that the students that are on Seesaw have signed the form that they are able to be videoed or that they are able to be taken pictures of. And if that becomes a problem on your campus, then really making a relationship with the parents and explaining to them the benefits of Seesaw, give them examples, and most of the time you can really talk them into allowing you to do that. If for some reason they do not want their child to be on any of it, then you do not have to add them. If parents are really, really concerned and they only want to see their child, when you click on everyone, you would have that student not included in that. But I think that the power of the Seesaw and the power of what is being put on the program, the parents have really enjoyed. And it only takes a couple of times of bringing a parent in or explaining to them in the carpool line, this is what it is and this is what you'll see, and they pretty much jump on board. Writing is really cool for me because writing is one of those things that over time you really see a huge improvement in writing. And so with the portfolio, what's really cool is that come after February, March, that kind of thing, when you have conferences again, really the Seesaw can lead the conference. You can sit down and say, let's look back, let's look at this child's writing in November, and they stamp them and they're time stamped here and they're dated, and let's see the progress they've made. Are they able to write 4 to 5 sentences? Are they now writing paragraphs? Let's look at their grammar and things. And so that's really powerful to see a child's progress. It's easy to say your child's doing a lot better. Their grade is now in the A's, it wasn't a B. But to sit down and see the writing and to see it evolve is a lot more powerful. I know that a couple parents have said before with their writing, once their child sits down and writes about things and they said, wow, I really didn't know that that meant that much to them. I didn't realize that they wanted that puppy so much. And so it's really cool. This child had written about a pony and how she wanted a pony. And so the parents were joking around about putting in half the money so that they can buy a pony. And this little girl, she did her video and she recorded herself because she really wants a hamster. And this was a writing station where they were writing about a pet they would really love to have. And so she wrote about it and she read it to her mom, and of course, she had her cute little voice on there. And then afterwards, her mom says, I'm going to think about it. And as soon as I told her mom's comment and she looked on it, she was so excited. She was, ear to ear. And mom might have never had the opportunity to see this before. It was in her spiral and it might not come home to the end of the year. So now they're able to see this weekly. And you can see some students that feel more comfortable with the writing and explaining, they will add a video. Some students that don't feel as comfortable yet, they might just add the picture, and I'll just encourage them next week, let's try to add some voice explaining your work. These were some stations from the week. This is a goal. We have goal parties, and so this child, they take pictures and they ask me about my party, and they put their little party. They were able to go because they met their goals. So their parents were really excited.
There's a question. Is there a mobile app?
Is there a what?
A mobile app, an application.
There is a mobile app. The app itself is on the phone, and let me turn this off and I can kind of show you really quickly. Okay, So my daughter also has Seesaw for her class because we have actually, our wonderful principal has made it mandatory that we all use Seesaw, and we know the benefits of it. And so we are using it as a school-wide. I did a training on campus, and everyone really took to it, and teachers are doing really, really wonderful. My daughter has it also. Sorry, let me get my... The actual Seesaw app, how parents get on it is they do download it, and it's a different hub. And so on my phone itself, it's kind of hard to see here, but I have one that says Seesaw Parent, and I have one that says Seesaw Class. The one, it's kind of garbage seeing on the phone actually here. But the Seesaw Class is how I manage my class on my phone. Sorry for the quality, guys. And then Seesaw Parent would be myself or my child that's enrolled in Seesaw. And so she has hers, and it just alerts you on here when your child has something new. I know some parents have said, oh, it kind of gets annoying to be alerted quite often. And I would agree if your phone's kind of going off, because I tend to Seesaw quite a bit. My students Seesaw almost every single day. And so you're getting a lot of alerts. On mine, I messed with it to where my daughter's doesn't actually alert me. I have to go in, and then it will show me that she actually has something I have not viewed yet. And in the corner, it tells me that there is one item that I haven't viewed. So I'll click on that, and then I'll see. So you can got to go into settings, and you can allow it to either alert you, or you have to go in yourself. And I guess since that's a question, I can kind of backtrack a little bit. That app itself, you would go into your app store, and you would download the Seesaw app. When the actual teacher sends home, let me go back and show you. When the teacher sends home the information, that is when you would have access to downloading that app, and it would be mobile for you to access. And as the teacher, you can download it, but the parents also will all have the apps on their phone. And I'll kind of give you a peek of that really quickly. So here, this is the Teachers Hub again. I don't think that's there, so hold on. Okay, so here's the Teachers Hub again. And this is what you see. So you would go over back here. This is kind of your settings area, your portal that you're going to manage everything in. This is where you add items. So you could click onto here. And I don't add items from my actual desktop because it's very difficult. All you can really add, you can go in and you can click notes, which is helpful. So I could click on note here. And this is where I would type in notes that could just go home, or reminders. And then once you would type in, let's say, okay, so if you wanted to type in something about Thanksgiving break, you would click, you could also add audio to it. You would click your accept. And then you could click everyone, and everyone would get that Thanksgiving break message, or you could click maybe your tutoring was canceled and you would just click those kids and it would only go in their portfolio. So that's the area that where you can just do a note. Here's links. You can do drawing. You would actually draw here, which I haven't used really that very often. I use mainly the video because the cool part about video, you can't see it here because I'm on the desktop again, is that you would actually do a video and the students can talk and they can actually write on their picture itself. Here's photo. You would just drop a photo in. And down here, whenever you are managing your class, you would click on Manage Class. And this is where you're going to add your students. So you will add students. And I'm not going to reset my students. They're already all added in here. And like I said, the tutorial, you can email me and I can help you start all of it. And there's a really good tutorial just on seesaw.com. And that's pretty much the easiest piece. I think what's important is what goes on it and how is it effective. What are the best pieces of information we can place on Seesaw. Here it says Get Class Code. So you would click on Get Class Code. And this class code, what's really important is that the QR code is only for each child. So this is a class code for the classroom where the kids could click on it and go to our actual class. But when you send this home, when you send a QR code home with each child, it's going to be different because each QR code is going to link to that child. So if you sent home the QR code to the wrong child, then you would be alerted Sally's trying to get into Jeremiah's portfolio, and you would know that you sent the wrong QR code home. And that all would be, here's your invite parents here. You can send via email if you knew their email. And here's the print parent invite handout. And when you load it on, and this is once your students have all been added into your class, this is where you would get the handout. And it instructs the parents, it's pretty good, and it instructs them exactly, here's the teacher part. It instructs to them exactly what they're going to do. It tells them that they download the app. They can go to the App Store, and it tells them to create a parent account, and then they're going to scan this. They don't actually have to have the QR code downloaded on their phone. It's part of the Seesaw. So once they download it, they'll scan this, and then bam, it's going to put them into their child. You can see this is one student. This is another student. The QR codes are very different. You need to make sure that the paper is going home with that child because they'll have access to their portfolio that way. So this is what would be sent home with the instructions once you do get started. And like I said, that is available on your settings area. Everything pretty much is here. Inviting your parents, managing your class, getting class code. And so for your children to get on, I wasn't going to go into too much detail about all of that, but just quickly, because I know we're going to be logging off soon. Getting the class code, like I said, is you could print this off and you post it somewhere around in your room where students could use any iPad and they would go up to it and scan it. And then that would bring them to their Seesaw to where they could add things. This isn't really necessary if you have an iPad. I keep my blue iPad logged on as a student always, and so my students never have to go over and scan this. It's always logged on as a student. Then I keep my desktop logged on as a teacher. So I keep this logged on as a teacher, and so I can go in and approve everything. My students just use my iPad and they add things. But when they add things, of course, like I said before, it has to be approved. So they add 3 or 4 things. At the end of the day, now I'm up to 8. So some of the other teachers, so their parents are commenting. When the parents comment also, I have to approve it. And so it needs to be approved or not by me. And then as the day goes on, you'll see that different areas and specials will add different things. So I'll go in tonight. Also, the folders, I added these folders, art, music, notes, and PE. And then I place the items. So if it comes across on the parents, they can see this is done in art. Sometimes interventionists will add pictures also, and so they can put in an intervention folder. And those folders are easily over here. Folder here. And so you could manage folders. This is a folder, and really playing around with it quite a bit. And you would add a new folder and just type it in. So if I wanted to add a folder that said homework, I could pick up homework folder. And then now if I add anything, or if my students add anything, I can put it into that tab. And you can always delete them later. And these are all my students. If I was at a conference, I could pull up one of my students. Most of them have in the hundreds, 90s to 100s of items in their portfolios. And I could just pull up their child and I would put it on a screen share and we could talk about their growth and the things that are going on. So any questions before we wrap it up, I guess? This is just kind of a glimpse of some things that I use Seesaw for, and really putting it at a higher level and expecting students to reflect and to understand what they're learning and to see a lot of progress, and all of it's in one place so we can keep it. Anybody have any questions? Hope it was helpful and beneficial for you. My email, if you have any concerns about setting up Seesaw and you want to know how to set up Seesaw, my email is klchinsk@garlandisd.net. And my name is Kelly Chinsky. Let me write that down. If you have any questions, I can help you. So here, klchinsk@ garlandisd.net. So I hope that was helpful for you. And thank you for logging on, and feel free to email me with any questions, and I would love to hear from you. I'd also would love some ideas of how to use Seesaw and extend it a little bit further. So if you have any extra ideas or anything you guys have heard on your campus, I think it's really important to go campus-wide with it if possible. Really go to your art teacher, your music, your PE teacher, and kind of present it to them and see if they would be willing to put things on Seesaw also. So thank you. Bye.